Greetings, this is Oilfield Innovations, and this video explains how our spring drive system drives our vertical cutter. Firstly, let's talk about how the spring drive system is assembled. Here are the parts, and let's first start with the lower connector. Firstly, find the lower connector and position it for assembly. Continue assembly by gathering 3 spring chambers and screwing them together onto the lower connector. This effectively creates a long chamber for assembling the spring drive parts. The spring-activated piston is then inserted into the chambers and into the lower connector. Holding the lower end of the spring-actuated piston, you can align its slot to the shear pin hole so that you can insert shear pins to hold it in place. 4 compression springs with intermediate spring washers are then inserted into the chamber and land on top of the spring-actuated piston. The spring shaft and spring compression piston are screwed together and slid into the chambers, the springs, and the spring-actuated piston. During operation, when the spring compression piston is activated, the springs are compressed and can move within the chamber and around the spring shaft to drive the spring-actuated piston. The spring drive is now assembled, and a crossover to a third-party downhole actuator used to push and hold the spring compression piston can be screwed onto the exposed spring chamber connection. Extension of the third-party downhole actuator piston compresses the springs until the spring shaft encounters the bottom of the spring-actuated piston to shear the pins and release the compressed springs. Expansion of the compressed springs drives the piston and a central shaft running through the tool to extend cutting skates. The skates can then be retracted by recompressing the springs with a second third-party downhole actuator located at the bottom of the tool assembly. The design of the spring drive prevents placing large actuation forces of third-party downhole actuators directly upon the cutters or the cutting skates, and limits the forces to the defined compression spring forces that can cut tubing and casing without damaging the tooling or cutter significantly during actuation use or deactivation. Thanks for watching our video.